Hari Om. The experience that I am going to narrate to you right now is that of Nitin Desai, who was a resident of Goregaon, East in Mumbai. Nitin is a textile engineer by profession and he runs a business whereby he is into dyeing of threads and manufacturing of textiles, and his unit is in Kolhapur, which is a city a little bit distant from Mumbai in India. Nitin has been following Bapu since the year 2000, and this incident, this experience of Nitin that I am going to narrate to you is from the year 2006. The date was 11th of July 2006. It was the day of Gurupournima, and like every other Gurupournima, Nitin was involved in devotional service or seva at the Gurupournima festival celebration. Nitin, right in the morning, was excited about Gurupournima like he was every year, and he moved towards the function area, which was in Kandivali, a little bit distant from where he used to stay in Goregaon. His seva started right in the morning, and as usual he reached there and he started with his daily routine, whatever he was allotted as seva. Nitin's son had just completed standard 12th and he wanted to get into engineering, and for the same he was undertaking a tuition and he used to go for classes in Dadar in Mumbai. That morning he was a little unwilling to go to class, but his mother actually forced him to go to class, saying that it was important for him to be regular so that he could get into his dream engineering college. While Nitin was at seva, at about 6:40 in the evening, Nitin got a frantic call from his wife. She was in a state of shock and despair and was crying on phone. The reason? That there had been reports of an explosion in a train, and their son had called Nitin's wife and told her that he was in that same coach in which the explosion had occurred, and that he was grievously injured. He was bleeding from his head, from his stomach, and the wife was absolutely inconsolable, and she said that I am leaving right now and I'm going to where our son is. Nitin asked his wife to wait because she would probably not be able to manage the situation, because it would have been a devastating effect of the explosion. He asked her to stay as he would prepare and go. But before that, he actually stepped out of where the Gurupournima function was. He spotted a police PCR van and approached them and asked them if really there had been an explosion. What he heard was far worse than what he was expecting. The policeman there told him that there wasn't one explosion, but till that time there were 3. And while they were talking to him, a message happened on the police radio and the 4th explosion was confirmed. Nitin was absolutely in a state of panic. He rushed inside to get his shoes so that he could wear them and he could rush to where his son was. But as he was going inside to wear his shoes, he noticed Bapu take stage. Now let me tell you, at this point in time, I was in Mumbai and I know what the situation was. Phone lines were completely jammed. And it's obvious because there were people who were wanting to get in touch with their loved ones, trying to figure out what actually happened to them. Were they caught in the bomb blasts, the explosions, or were they safe? And therefore the entire cellular network of every operator was jammed. You couldn't get through to any number. But that time, Nitin saw Bapu on stage and he thought he should call his son and take stock. Believe it or not, he got through. He spoke to his son. He said, "Where are you?" The son said, "I'm right here where the explosion happened, but I don't know where exactly because I can't figure out where I am. Somewhere possibly in between Santa Cruz and Khar." Nitin asked him, "Are you injured?" He said, "I think so. My head is bleeding, my stomach is bleeding, and somehow I can feel pain." Then Nitin asked, "What do you see around?" He said, I was in this entire pile of bodies. There were people who were dead. There were people who were unconscious. I somehow moved the bodies around and then I finally moved out of the train. Nitin said, now what do you see around? What do you see at the distance? His son said, I see a road. Why don't you go to that road, reach that road, and I will call you in a bit. After 5 minutes, Nitin called him again, and he was on the road. Nitin said, do you see an auto rickshaw around? He said, yes, I see right one in front of me. Nitin asked him to get into the auto rickshaw and asked him to hand over the phone to the rickshaw driver. Nitin told the rickshaw driver, look, my son is injured. Can you tell me how badly is he injured? The auto rickshaw driver confirmed. He said, he is fairly injured. I can see him bleeding from at least a couple of places and he doesn't look in good shape. Nitin told the auto driver, I'm asking you for a favor. This is my address in Goregaon. Can you drop my son to our house? And by Bapu's grace, the auto driver knew exactly where that location of the house was. Nitin also told the auto driver that, look, he is bleeding profusely. There is a fair bit of chance that he might fall unconscious on your way home. Could you please still drop him home? The auto rickshaw driver said, dropping him home is my responsibility. I will ensure he gets home. During this time, because there were explosions in trains, and trains happened to be the lifeline of the city of Mumbai, carrying lakhs of people, millions of people every day, train services were disrupted because of the explosions. So a majority of people who were returning from their homes took to the streets. They started looking for cabs. Cabs weren't available. They were in public buses. And a lot of people who were actually traveling alone in cars gave a lot of people lifts. So the roads were clogged with traffic. It was taking people 4.5 to 5 hours to reach their destinations. And in such a situation, this auto rickshaw driver was able to take the son to their house from Santa Cruz to Goregaon in just about 20 to 25 minutes. As the son reached home, Nitin called up his wife and told him to take him to the doctor before anything else, before any questioning. Take him to the doctor, get him checked, get first aid done, get a status of how he is doing. So Nitin's wife took his son to the doctor. The doctor removed the shrapnels of the bomb that had gone into Nitin's son's body. He administered all the necessary first aid that was required at that stage. Nitin's wife and his son then returned home. Nitin, by this time, wound up. He figured it was best for him to now leave because earlier everything was chock-a-block traffic. It took him 4.5 hours to reach home from Kandivali to Goregaon. Now, for those who are not well versed with the city of Mumbai, let me tell you, from Santa Cruz to Goregaon is roughly about 11 kilometers. The distance that Nitin travelled from Kandivali to Goregaon is half of that, is roughly about 5.5. Half the distance Nitin took 4.5 hours to travel. His son in that auto rickshaw reached in just about 20 to 25 minutes. The son was safe. The son was secure. Bapu ensured he reaches home on time. Bapu ensured that everyone was safe and sound. And Nitin, when he got home, he was reminded of what Bapu said that day. He said, I'm taking the responsibility of ensuring your loved ones reach home safe. And Bapu fulfilled that responsibility. This is the fascinating experience of Nitin Desai, his son, and his wife. Hari Om, Shri Ram, Ambagya, Nath Sambit.